What is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know, you're officially tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB podcast series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and with me today, I have someone who is very much in the same element, the same vibe, the same energy when it comes to just the overall mind body connection and just having a concept of just basically healing the community versus killing the community, and for very, very good reason. And it's like the person who I have on my podcast, it's like she's a physical and mental health enthusiastic. She's has a background in like mental health counseling, parenting, coaching, everything when it comes to just the health and wellness world. She is pretty much all about it. And she is actually one of the main minds behind this real big movement. I don't know if you know about this, y'all. It's called the Heal Coastal Bend movement, which we're going to get into all of that as well. It's pretty much for anyone who's looking for the holistic approach, this is the episode to tune into right here. With that being said, I'd like to welcome Miss Love and Inspire herself, Kassandra Villarreal, to the HFWB podcast series. How is it going, Cassandra?
It's going great, Clifton. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to share just what it is that I do, that I get to do, and just share with you. Like you said, this movement that I feel is happening, and it's not. I'm not the only one, and it's just so
Yeah.
amazing to be here. And just to talk about things that people don't normally talk about, because I believe that
Mhm.
that is the number one way that we heal is by like uncovering the parts of ourselves that we don't really want to talk
Mhm.
about, and then beginning to do the things that we actually need to do to like heal those wounds and get to the root of the problem. So I'm excited.
I agree 100%, but let's break it down step by step for the people, Cassandra. As far as just yourself as an overall individual, describe like your backstory as far as those who are listening to the HFWB podcast series and wondering who is Cassandra Villarreal?
Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay, so I am actually somebody who grew up in a very toxic household. I'm the oldest of five siblings. I have four younger siblings, and we were all placed in foster care when I was 15 years old. And once I was placed in foster care, I felt like that is what God did to like allow this life that I'm living now to begin, if that makes sense. Like it's
Yeah.
100% like God's grace and just being able to have that fresh start in like being in foster care and getting out of the environment that I was in, with my
Mhm.
mom and my stepdad and all of that kind of stuff. And then so from there, I saw the vision of being able to go to college, and I did. I went to A&M Kingsville. Kingsville is my hometown, and I grew up there. And so went to A&M Kingsville, graduated with my bachelor's in psychology, and then went on to build a life with my husband and got my master's in clinical mental health counseling. And then just started working. I've worked with CPS as the youth specialist. I've just done so many different things in like the health and wellness the health and wellness
Industry and stuff.
industry. And I'm also a health and wellness coach with Beachbody. So I've been with Beachbody for like 6 years now. I love helping moms. Like my whole thing is to help moms, especially parents, yes, 100%. But I feel like it's the moms mostly who like come to me. Um, and just working with them in giving them an opportunity to find that space to talk to somebody, to find that time
Mhm.
for themselves, because I feel like there's so many distractions and so many things that go on in this day and age that we are pulled in so many different directions as moms.
Yes, we are.
And so that's like my passion right there, and I just love that I get to sit across from women and dads and parents, and just help them to understand themselves, help them to understand maybe where some of their parenting things come from, like why they parent the way that they do, and then help them to find ways that are going to be so supportive to breaking those family, like those generational curses, those like generational habits that we have, and just finding healing in that aspect. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
No, that's great. That's great because it's like your background as far as you growing up in the foster care system and not really having like the ideal parents, like the mom and dad role growing up, and now here you are helping parents as far as just getting their relationship on track and just helping them just stay the course, most importantly, as far as whatever they may be going through. And it's like you're absolutely right. It's like God basically tested you at that exact time in that foster care system to see if you would be able to get out of that exact system in order to make a difference in society when the time is right. And look at you now, given the right light, you are shining in your own bright light. But I was going to ask you, Cassandra, as far as that overall journey, it's definitely was everyday struggle moments and everything like that. But where does the drive come from to where it's like, yes, I didn't have parents growing up like most people did. I want to do what it takes to help future parents, of course, just make the world a better place, so to speak.
Right. So 100% it comes from my own like drive to raise my kids in a different way in a different
Hmm.
society. Part of it also too, and I've realized this in like the last like 6 months, I want to be someone who can support parents in the way that my mom and my parents didn't get when I was placed in foster care before, or even before I was placed in foster care.
Right.
Right. And then the other piece of it is, and I just had it in my brain a second ago. Oh, that's what it is. I want my kids to grow up in a society filled with people who are healing. Like, can
Mm.
you imagine the world? Like, if we as parents now take the opportunities that we have in this movement, like, there's such a movement nowadays for, working on our own healing, and then working on our parenting in the way that we have to like reparent ourselves and like parent our kids in a different way. Can
Yeah.
you imagine how the world's going to be in like 10, 15, 30 years? If we as parents nowadays take this opportunity and to grab onto it and to find that healing, like
Yeah.
I
The
love
future
it.
starts now in that
It's
aspect.
amazing. Yeah. So
No,
that's what
I
that's
agree
what
with you on that. It's like you gotta plant the seeds now. That way you can nurture it and let it grow, and then eventually reap what you sow for the better versus for the worse. As far as just healing yourself from within, and of course teaching the parents that they can, of course, heal themselves from within, and like take a step back and understand where the child is coming from to kind of level it out as far as a perfect balance to where it's like the communication bridge is strong to where it's like that love will just bond the parent and child forever without a doubt. And it's like you mentioned like the bond with your kids and everything. Like how strong is that and how much does that impact as far as just your overall drive, just continuing to just be the best overall parent coach that you are? Because it's like your motto, Cassandra, and I love it, by the way. Stay at moms, inspired by the heart. It's like I love that because it's like it symbolizes everything you pretty much went through within your overall journey. It's like, did you think that it would even put you in this position that you're currently in and it like keep on going forward?
I always had this feeling that like God had more planned for my life. Like even whenever I was in the
Hmm.
worst of it, and just choosing, I feel like I've made the choices to pursue, like what he has called me to do, even through the tough times. Like it is not always easy, to, like make a different choice, than what I was shown growing up, or to make a different choice than like what I feel. And there are times when I'm human, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
human, I'm gonna have human moments. My kids are gonna trigger me. There are things, that I'm still working through as, as a
Hmm.
parent, as a human. And there are times when I allow myself to be human, and then there are times when I'm like, okay, was that the best, that I could have done? And if not, like, what are the steps that I can take to like work through that and do it differently and, and like at another time. And so definitely, just taking that opportunity to like check my look at this, my cat. Um, if I don't have my kids around me, I have my pets or my husband. It's always somebody.
For
But
those who are watching the YouTube version and or listening to it on audio, Cassandra's cat has just entered the scene on the episode of the HFWB podcast series.
okay, her name's Lupita, and she was adopted from the cattery like 12 years ago. So she's an amazing cat. I love her. She's the sweetest.
Welcome aboard to the HFWB podcast series. You never know who may appear.
Yes, it is fun. But I'm gonna kick her out for a second because I want to focus. Hold on, because if not, I'll get too distracted. Bye bye.
For those who are watching right now or listening to the audio version, Cassandra is basically putting her cat out. That way we can focus and lock in, y'all. We doing this. We doing this.
And one thing that I want to share is that I
Yeah.
have been in therapy. Like this healing journey has been because, like even like I was one of those people who liked therapy whenever I was in foster care. Every single person who gets placed in foster care basically, like they have a therapist like assigned to them.
Someone to talk
And
to
I,
and stuff.
yeah, and I talked to my therapist, and then, there was another point after I got out of foster care when I was in college that I, like met with the therapist. And then here recently in the last like well, I started out with the pregnancy center. The pregnancy center is another really great resource, like here in Corpus Christi. They are kind of what spurred my more gentle parenting like approach. So like going
Mm.
there and like getting help from them when I was pregnant with my second son. And then because I realized I had a lot of things that I was doing that I did not want to be doing, like as a mom of my older son. And then I was like, okay, like, God guide me, like where can I go? And the pregnancy center is a really great resource. And then, got help from them. And then here recently I was in the last, well, it's been a while since I've seen her, but, saw a therapist again for a couple of years, as I am growing and evolving and, working through life, like a, a human who has had complex PTSD, working through all of those things and just realizing, it's okay. Therapists, even therapists and coaches need somebody to go and talk to and work through things in our own life. We're not perfect by any means. We do not have it all figured out. We are just willing to
Mm.
do the work to work through what we're going through. You know what I mean? So,
You literally took the words right out of my mouth there, Cassandra, because you are right. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody has all the answers. And at the same time, nobody doesn't even have all the questions to those answers that they're searching for. And that's what makes this journey much more fulfilling because you are literally growing through what you go through to be the best version of yourself that you can be and just applying that to whatever it is that you're passionate about and that what you love doing. And that's what makes the process of healing yourself from within much more fulfillful. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here in Corpus Christi, Texas, with this forming just a movement. It's like I've talked to many, many people in the city as far as just trying to form a movement, as far as just healing everybody from within. And whenever you reached out to me a few months back about this opportunity called the Heal Coastal Bend, I was like, I had to jump on top of this because this is everything that I've kind of been envisioning since COVID happened, where it's like I want to go on this revolution within myself to, of course, just heal myself physically, mentally, emotionally, physically, where I can be like somewhat bulletproof in all those aspects. And it's like now with this Heal Coastal Bend, myself, yourself, many more individuals that we're all connected to, Cassandra. I feel like going forward 2024 and beyond, we could form a movement that's definitely going to have the city on its knees. I personally feel like where I'm going with this, Cassandra, the Heal Coastal Bend Where did this concept come from? Where did this idea start? And what made you want to do it? And where do you
Okay.
see it going?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
It's a
I
four-part
love this
question.
question.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. I'll probably talk about it all. So, Heal Coastal Bend is born out of a desire to bring health and wellness practitioners together. Like like you said, I'm a holistic. I work from a holistic approach. Whenever I work with people, I'm gonna talk to them about like how they manage themselves and their time and their sleep and their energy and their nutrition, like all of the things. Whether I'm working with them as a beach body coach or as a parenting coach, it's all going to be kind of like collaborating in the same way. And I got to be a part of an office, where I had holistic practitioners around me, and where we're just like let's just create this thing where we just cast our net wide and create a space for health and wellness holistic practitioners to come together. So Heal Coastal Bend, Heal stands for is holistic, enriched, authentic lives, because that's what we want to have, and that's what we want to show others. Is that it is possible to find healing in ways that is authentic to us. Like we are not all going to follow the same diet. We're not all going to follow the same sleep schedule. We're not going to all follow the same yoga regimen or whatever. You know what I mean? But there are
Mhm.
so many different ways and so many different aspects of things that you can do to heal yourselves. And that is why I believe that it's important for us to bring practitioners in the Coastal Bend together. And I am on the board. I am the community chair. And then we have our director, who is Whitney Brown. And, we are just so excited to bring all of the practitioners as we can, as many as we can in the Coastal Bend, to find a way to help Corpus Christi and the surrounding areas, to help them find healing, like real, true healing. Because often, we're looking for something that's going to help us. But often we hear about these things that we have to do, like, and we don't feel like we have the time, or we don't feel like we have the energy, or we don't feel like we have the money, and all of these different things. And it's very much, we are a society that is working from a very like, we feel like we don't have enough time. I think time is like the biggest thing. You know what I mean?
It
Like we don't
is.
have enough time for that. Like I don't have enough time to exercise. I don't have enough time to meditate or pray or spend, like take the time to go outside. And so finding different ways to encourage others to do those things and to find the time and to make the time, that's part of it. Like that's all part of
Yeah.
it. And I'm not saying that's 100% going to fix everything, but whenever you look at personal health, whenever we start doing more of those things, we feel more grounded, we feel more at peace, we feel more connected to ourselves and our own hearts and our own souls. And then that's when we connect those hearts, minds, and souls with others. And because there's so much mental, there's so many mental disorders. People, almost everyone I know, like has some sort of like, mental thing that they've been diagnosed with,
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, well, I have this disorder. So it kind of like, it almost gives them like a permission slip, per se, to like have these types of behaviors and do these things that are not really who we are as people, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like we live in a disordered world with like, there's so many things that are going on, and I understand. Like we've all been like, we've all gone through COVID. Like we've all, like had this like collective experience. And I actually met with Tim Tate recently, and he was talking
Shout out
about
to
how,
Tim Tate.
yeah,
I
he's
actually I
awesome.
actually had him on my podcast a while back. He's like one of the most genuine people that I know. And when it comes to just like the overall aspect of mental health, I've learned so much from Tim, especially in the men's group that we used to go to, me,
Oh,
him,
yeah.
Omar Davis, a couple of other people. We all used to like have real great conversations just about the
Right.
mind, the body, and spirit, and how they're all interconnected, discussing like everything from like chakra systems, different religions, how they're all connected, all this stuff. It's like we went on for hours about that. I tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's good that, like, I love that there are different groups that are meeting or have met, and just kind of like everything happens
Yeah,
for a reason. Like every conversation that we have, every connection that we have, you take what you need out of it, and I think that
yeah.
that's so beautiful. But he was saying, he's like, during COVID, they should have been calming us down instead of like, making us feel more like stressed out. Like, how many of us were
They
stressed
instilled
out?
fear in us in that times, and that's
Yes,
what
like
led
we
to all
we
the
still like
stress.
every single time there's like a flare up of like COVID or whatever, where we're all worried about, like if it's gonna come back, and if it's gonna be like we're gonna have to stay at home again and mask up again, and like all of these different things. And I was telling my husband the other day, I said, I'm a little sad that my 8-year old didn't get the normal kindergarten experience. Like my 5-year old is getting
Mhm.
that, and I'm seeing that, like all of the things that he gets to do. And I'm like, man, like I wish that he had had that. I'm kind of grieving that a little bit, like you know, um, realizing all of that kind of stuff. So it's just a little bit of like, we're still feeling the ripple effects of it. And if we don't
Yes,
get
we
a
are.
hold of that, like if we don't get a hold of it, it's just going to cause so many like tsunamis, like it just depends on which way you like, which way I guess like you go with it. It's like you can either continue to go down the rabbit hole of like pandemic and stress and panic, like, and all of these kind of things, or we could like come out of it and realize like there is a way to heal, there is a way to like work through these different kind of things. And there are so many practitioners that we have like as a part of our heal group. We're calling it a network, so that's what it is. Like we're casting our net wide, we're networking with all of our as many different practitioners. I mean, we have a naturalist, which is amazing. We have a naturopathic doctor, we have a nutritionist, we have he's a massage sports therapist,
Massage therapist, mental health,
yeah, massage therapist,
meditation and stuff.
and I mean, so many others. Massage, we have a couple of different massage therapists. We have a couple of different people who focus on nutrition. We have physical personal trainers. You're a personal trainer yourself. So, I mean, we have so many different people who are wanting to work with people, to
Hmm.
work with the people in the Coastal Bend and actually help them work on the things, and we're all here to like connect and collaborate and help others. And I can only see this like growing and becoming something where we create health fairs, where we create conferences, where we create different things that are going to be a benefit. I know Mr. Tate is doing like a retreat for teachers, in December, which is amazing.
Yep.
I'm planning some women's wellness workshops, focused around like our cycles and like how we can manage, like our emotions and life, like through the female monthly cycle, because we experience a whole nother, like clock, they call it like it's like a different clock than like the 24-hour clock that we normally experience. And our hormones and everything like goes up and down throughout the month. And I think a lot of times as women, we think we have to like perform the same, like throughout the month, even though like our brain chemistry is literally changing, our, like everything is like changing with the flow of like how our menstrual cycles go. So that's one thing that I want to like focus more on in 2024. So all of the different things that we are doing are to bring awareness, to bring education, to empower others. Like that's 100%. I think the most important thing is to empower people to do things that they really truly need and want to do, but they just don't know where to start, or they don't
Yeah.
know like what exactly it is. Like we've all been, I think there's only so much education that we're given in our lifetime, throughout school and all that kind of stuff. And unless we find it outside of that, it's not it's not going to be there. You know what I mean? So anyway,
No, you're absolutely right, Cassandra, and you're like spot on everything you just said. And to add to that, it's like I feel like I've learned more outside of school versus being in school, because realistically in school they don't teach you all the necessary things you need to survive in the real world. It's like what Robert Kiyosaki says. The school system is basically designed to basically raise you up into becoming like an employee, like a corporation, and just maintaining a good job and having like the necessary standard living expenses and all that stuff. And it's like that's pretty much what that the system within that is kind of based off of. And it's like you sometimes have to like be your own teacher, and you have to have like mentors outside of school. You have to search for that knowledge and have that thirst for it, to where it's like every time you receive new information to help you become better, it kind of helps quench that thirst, so to speak. And it's like everything with the heel coastal bend. I'm gonna throw this out there as far as it being like a new slogan. And special shout out to Whitney Brown on this. Hopefully she's listening to this and she'll agree with me on this. If you don't make time for your overall wellness, you're going to be forced to make time for any illness that you may be suffering at the end of the day. I think that should be the official slogan of the Heel Coast Bend 2024 and beyond. I'm just throwing it out there right now. Vinny, if you're listening, you can trademark that if you want. It's all good. But with everything going on with this healing journey and everything, 2024 and beyond, it's like, where do you see it going beyond that, as far as just the opportunity to heal as many people as possible?
The vision.
The
So
vision, yes.
I want I want heal to become a source of prevention for people, for us
Mm,
to find ways to prevent illness as much as possible. Because the more that we become aware of like our, like the beginning signs of anything, like I love, so they're speaking about slogans. So there's one that I love that it's at a it was, I saw it at a doctor's office that I used to go to, and it says an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
I think I've seen
An
that one
ounce
before too. That's a great
an
slogan, by
ounce
the
of
way.
prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so I believe that the more that we share about, like mind body awareness, like the holistic health like practices, meditation, like getting out into nature, the naturopathic ways to, like heal our bodies and fuel our bodies and like all of those different kind of things. Working with a counselor or like a health coach or wellness coach or other type of practitioner like that. And the more that we get out into the coastal bend, the more that people see what we do and what we're about, the more they're going to come to us and the more we're going to be able to help prevent illnesses, help prevent mental disorders, help prevent these type of things, instead of brushing everything under the rug and slapping a band-aid on it. Like
Yeah.
that's very much been like the medical model for like the longest time. And not even just the medical model, like a societal model. Like I believe the entire societal model of Corpus Christi and the coastal bend is going to change for the better.
Without a doubt. And it comes down to this, Cassandra. You can either accept your current conditions for what it is, or you can accept the responsibility to change it. Which side are you on at the end of the day? And a lot of people are going to have to come to terms with making that decision within itself. But overall, Cassandra, I'm actually at the point where we're at the podcast, as far as me asking you like a list of questions that I always ask everybody who comes on my podcast, just to kind of pick your brain a little bit and give the people who are listening the opportunity to know you a little bit more. So, with that being said, Cassandra, my first question is this: what is the first thing you do or think of every single day you wake up?
Um, all that I have to do in the day. It's been a little bit, I'm gonna be honest, I've been in a little bit of like a slump lately. So it's been a little bit of like,
We all have
um,
slumps. We all have
I'm not
slumps.
ready to wake up, but what drives me, I think about all that I get to do, which is, work on, work on, being the best parent that I can be to my kids, no matter how I'm feeling. And that I get to love and serve on people as a counselor and a coach. Like those are like my absolute favorite things that I get to do.
Got you. When it comes to health and wealth, they kind of are intertwined within each other, but in your own eyes, Cassandra, what is your personal definition of health and wealth?
Health is to feel my very best that I can feel, have great energy, feel, well enough to go and share that energy with others, because energy is exchanged. And then with wealth is being able to support and provide for my family, but also be able to be here with them, like not be so overwhelmed with work that I don't have the time and the energy to be here. So just wealth and like time, and it's nice to have money, but at the same time, time is more important than money, because every time you go to work, you're exchanging your time for what you're getting paid. You know what I mean? So
This is
yeah.
true. Overall, when it comes to being a healer, what is your best definition of that?
Of a healer, a healer is somebody who shows up and is there to support others and meets them where they're at, and then takes
Okay.
their hand and is like, okay, like, we're going to work through this together, and not, not be somebody who's like, oh, I know better than you, or I know what's going to work better for you than you. I'm very much a like, let's figure this out together. And I'm going to use my expertise and my knowledge to support them, but I'm not going to be the expert on their own personal life, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
No, it's just like you're being like the tour guide to a certain extent, Cassandra. It's like
Yeah.
you're showing them all the places that they need to go, but you're giving them the option if you want to go a little bit more into the actual places that I'm showing you and stuff like that.
Right.
It's like you're walking up to the door and opening it for them, and you're showing them what's inside the door, and then it's like, okay, if you want to go check it out a little bit more, be my guest.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's
that's
just
that's
like,
a good analogy right there. Now that I
yeah.
think about it, actually.
Yeah, it is.
But overall, Cassandra, we're going to do a little bit of a scenario called either or. I'm going to ask you which one you choose, of course.
Okay.
The first one is simple: loyalty or respect.
Respect.
Got it, got it. You gotta have respect, and I'm the same exact way. It's like I don't care if you love me or you hate me, as long as you respect me, I'm cool with that.
Right. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to for me too. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Would you rather live in space or the ocean?
That one's tougher. Um, Dude, I have a fear of drowning, so I guess space.
I respect the honesty there, Cassandra. I respect the honesty. Would you rather be famous and poor or rich, anonymous and rich?
That's a tough question. Man, if you're anonymous and rich, you could really do a lot of good. Um, but famous and poor, I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing with it. Um,
It's true.
anonymous, anonymous and rich. Yeah.
Got you, got you. Would you rather have unlimited free meals at your favorite restaurant or unlimited first class tickets to be able to fly anywhere you want?
Meals.
We
Nutrition.
gotta eat.
Nutrition is
We
so
gotta, we
important.
gotta
Like
eat to live, right? We
I have
gotta
a flight
eat
that
to
option, so I'm
live.
like, like that's not that big of a deal. I mean, maybe if I'd flown first class before, I might think differently. But yeah, definitely food is important.
No, I hear you on that. Would you rather dance to every song or sing to every song?
Dance.
Nothing wrong with that at
So
all. You got to move the body. You got to get your move and groove on every now and then. And at the same time, it's actually pretty good exercise to dance every now and then because you're moving your body, getting your blood flowing. And if you do it with certain technique, you really activate certain muscles, which a lot of people don't realize.
yeah, there's actually a wellness. It's like a workout program with Beachbody. It's called Let's Get Up with Shanti, and it's like literally you're like dancing, but you're moving. You know, like it's like an actual like workout and stuff like that. So it's really fun. He uses like different technique. Like it's you're not even doing the same type of like I guess like dance movement. You know, like it's always like something different. So it's really cool because you get to learn like different dance techniques. I've always wanted to be a dancer. I used to want to be like a ballroom dancer and be like a professional. That was like a thing. And then I was belly dancer at one point in college. So I've done some dancing in my life, just not like to what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? So yeah.
I got you. I got you. Now picture this scenario, Cassandra. You're trapped on an island and you can listen to five of your favorite music artists. It don't matter what the genre is. You can have their whole catalog of music. Who would those five artists be?
Megan Trainer, she's like my favorite. I just love her, like the way she makes all of her songs. It's so fun. And then of course NSYNC, dude. Let's see what else. Who else have I been listening to? Um, my favorite Tasha Layton. She's a Christian recording artist. She's really good. Toby Mac, and
Okay.
who was another one? Um, Britney Spears. Yeah,
A little bit of
telling you the
Christian
gospel.
pop in there. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that. People, if someone was passing by on an island and heard that music, Cassandra, they would probably want to come and praise the Lord and at the same time get a nice little dance party going too, because it's like something about pop music that just gets you going and just helps you like dance for no apparent reason whatsoever at the most random times, and at
Yes.
times help you feel good about yourself depending on the exact moment that you're going through and stuff.
Yeah. You know what I found is on Amazon Music there's a Christian workout like playlist. And I was like,
Oh
I
wow, I
started
didn't know
listening to
that.
it because I've been driving a lot for work. I drive like an hour, you know, to Bevo. And so like I've been either listening to the NCE, like the study book or whatever, you know, like just kind of like listening to it while I drive, or music because well, I mean, you know, listen to a little bit of everything, but I'm like whenever I get tired of the book I'm like I need music. Like put on something. But I was like Christian workout, and it's getting me to listen to different songs that I've never heard before, you know. So I was like that's really cool. So different like different playlists. I like how it has like different suggestions and different things to listen to. So it's really
That's
cool.
very good to know. It really is. I might have to look into that myself. Now, Cassandra, as far as the places you've traveled within the course of your life, where's the favorite place you traveled to, and where is a place you would like to travel to that you haven't been to before?
Okay, so as far as where I've traveled to, and I haven't traveled very many places, but I would say New Orleans was like a favorite. I actually went there when I worked
That's not
for.
bad. I haven't been to New Orleans.
I want to take my husband. It's been like at least 10, 12 years since I've been over there. But I went over there for a job for the New Orleans Katrina study. So I went over there because they wanted to show us like what it all looked like, you know, since Hurricane Katrina. I think this was like 5 years after. And so I got
Oh
to
wow, okay.
experience it, you know, like even though I was there for work, I still got to experience it. They took us on a tour. And I was like, man, that's just like a really cool, like their culture. You get to learn about their culture and all that kind of stuff. And then so I definitely want to go back. And then another, well, where I want to go is Hawaii. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii. Never been. I'm 40. I told my husband, I said, I'm 40. We're going this year. We're gonna make it work. So my plan is within the next 6 months to travel to Hawaii. So yeah.
Not bad choices at all. Not bad choices at all. Now I know you're like super busy with a handful of things that you have on your agenda on a consistent basis, Cassandra. But when you're not doing all the things you're doing on a regular basis, What are some of your favorite hobbies you like to do that many people may not know you like to do?
So, actually, I just picked this back up, like literally this week. I used to crochet and knit before I had kids, and then like
Oh,
once I had
wow.
kids, it was just like my hands needed to be busy with them, and so I literally just picked that up the other day. I was at Walmart and I saw the yarn and stuff. I was like, you know what, like let me just pick this back up and see. And I was actually able to just muscle memory is amazing, and I just started like without having to watch it like a video or anything like that. And so I'm working on a blanket for my boys right now, so it's really nice because I, instead of playing video, playing games and like being on my phone, I like that it's like, something I'm doing with my hands. And like it's really good at, they say, for like also, like hand-eye coordination and just like continuing to keep your brain engaged in something, that's like outside of, it's a wellness thing. It really is. And it's really cool because it's like the same,
Mm.
it's like the creativity, the wellness, the muscle memory and all of that kind of stuff. So it's really cool.
You know what that tells me, Cassandra? It tells me that the universe wanted you to get back into that for a particular reason because that's a certain skill and a talent and a gift that you have that God wanted you to take advantage of to, of course, keep you away from all the distractions and keep you focused on your overall mission that you're currently on. And it's crazy how you just explained that. It's like it kind of works out both. It kind of works out all the way around to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But my last question for you, Cassandra, before we wrap everything up. Now, picture you have the opportunity to go back in time like 10 years ago. What would you tell yourself? And at the same time, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years with the current journey you're on going forward?
So 10 years ago, this is before I had my boys. Hold on because it's going to be a roller coaster. So hold on, just hold on to your
That's
faith.
probably what I would tell myself too, honestly.
Yes. And then in 10 years from now, man, the impact that I'm going to make is going to be more than I could ever imagine. I believe
Well
that.
said, Cassandra. Well said. For anybody who is interested in, of course, getting in contact with you about everything that you do as far as all the services that you provide to help heal the community, where can they find you at?
Well, I have a website. It's www.inspiredbycoachcassandra with a K.com. So inspired by Coach Cassandra. I'm also on Facebook, Kassandra Villarreal. Very simple. I do have a Facebook business page for Inspiring a Parent's Heart. Inspiring a Parent's Heart is my parent coaching business. But I'm getting messages from Meta that I'm like, I don't know, something about I've violated some standards. So I don't know how long that page is going to be around. So we'll see. And then you know how that goes. And then
Yep.
on Instagram, it is inspired underscore by underscore coach underscore Cassandra. So very much, easy to find me. I'm everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, and my website. So yeah.
If anything, for everyone who's listening to this episode of the HFWB podcast series, if you haven't learned anything from listening to myself and Cassandra's conversation, it's just you have to stay loaded with the ultimate God, y'all. God, universe, and nature. And that's going to take you very, very far places. I can assure you that. And before you know it, you may be healing yourself from within and be inspired and empowered within yourself to want to spread the love, spread the joy, spread the wealth, because that's the only way this world is going to become a better place at the end of the day. With that being said, Cassandra, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to basically bless us with an appearance on the HFWB podcast series. I truly appreciate it and I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you, Clifton. This was amazing.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And for everybody who's listening to the HFWB podcast series, this is your host, Clifton Pope, and I encourage everybody to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, everybody.